This morning we spoke about Shaila, about mixing the dam and the sugar and the salt. But anyway, I wasn't here for the last year, so we missed out something. So I want to go back to it. In Parsha today, it says, "Ki arta v'shem alakech es gvulch kesh diber loch b'marta oich l'bosa kesach oich l'bosa kol avas nafshcha toich l'bosa." In the originally they were not allowed to have besar taiva. So the Eibusha said that when they're going to Eretz Yisrael, they could have besar taiva. Ki yirchek mimcha mokum ashiyivcha Hashem alakech l'osam shma'isham b'savachta me'bekorcha me'tzencha asher nosan Hashem alakok asher tzivi sicha, that you have to do hilcha shchita, like Rashi says. I already told you b'Sinai how exactly you should do shchita for a behema. And you don't have to bring a korban shlom into the Beis Hamikdash. You checked it wherever you are. V'achalta b'sharecha b'choil avas nafshech. Ach kasher yochel asatziv esayol ken tachlenu atoma v'ator yachtiv yechlenu rak chazak lebelti achoil hadam.
Or have to be a chazak to eat.
Oh.
I want to eat blood.
Oh, how does Rashi wants to know who has that taiva to eat blood, that the Torah has to say rak chazak levilti achoil adam ki adam hu nefesh v'lo yitech nefesh im abos lo yitechlena l'oretz shbachenu kamoyim lo yitechlena l'man yitav l'chol v'nach acheretzcha tisasa hayosher b'nei Hashem. Zok Rashi rak chazak levilti achoil adam ma shenem chazak atalomei shehu yishtufim badam l'och lefikach hu tzarich loim chazak divrei Rabbi Yehuda. So the Yehuda said that because the Torah says chazak, it's mashma that the Eden were very short of dam. Torah has to say chazak. Shimon ben Azai, "Maloi ba kosav elala zircha."
Shut up in English, Hagazunke.
Probably very rogel, or very into it. And Shimon ben Azai, "Loi ba kosav elala zircha lalametcha kama tzorach l'schazig v'mitzvos." No, the pasuk is only coming to teach you about the chizuk in general of mitzvahs. Im adam shehu kal lishamar memeno shena lemisavaloy. Dam, who has a taiva for dam? No one has a taiva. It's a dova kal lishamar memeno. Hu tzerech lechazekcha ba'azorosoy kal v'choymer l'shar mitzvahs. Since we're already on it, so one more Rashi. L'man yitav loch. Rashi says it's say lamad kodesh from mitzvahs. Im adam shenafshi shlodem chotzam memeno. It's repugnant to people. So if a person is careful with this mitzvah, aloita say, "Apoyrish memena zoicheloi ulavona b'acherim kal v'choymer legezel v'aroyis shenafshe shaloda mesavaloi." Period. Just to make the picture full, Rashi's mockers from the Sifri. It says, "Rak chazach lebelti achoil adam and v'hu da'omer magid she'yisrael shtufim badam koydem manta." Okay, a classic Rashi Sichos couldn't be more classic than this. The Rebbe fragt gleich all the regular kashas that the Rebbe would ask. If Rashi needs two tirutzim, Hashem is good. The Welt sagt that the Gewir hat ein Kuh und se da genug Milch. Der Arman hat zwei Ki and se nicht da genug Milch, because always gedart the dronjen. That the rich man has one big fat cow and there's enough milk for the family. And the poor man has two cows, but they're skinny, so there's not enough milk for the family. So when Rashi gives one pshat, you're in a good place. There is no other pshat. And Rashi gives two pshatim. The Rebbe shit is like this. First pshat is closer to Pshat Shemikra, but there is a problem with the first pshat. And therefore the Rashi is the second pshat. But the second pshat doesn't answer all the problems, and fakert. The first pshat is more caught of Pshat Shemikra. The Rebbe says, are you going to tell me otherwise? The Rashi says it's not true. The Rebbe says, true, you can't say Zocha v'Shem avdei berechot. So if you want to say to Pshatim, but the Rashi a lot of times says that Yesh b'zeh shnei pirush, or Yesh mer b'seinu emer, Yesh emer, Yesh emer. So when Rashi says that there's two pirushim, so he's telling you that they're equal pirushim, and I can't say Zocha v'Shem avdei berechot, and only Rabban Shalom could do it. So therefore, I'm telling you this and that. But Rashi doesn't do that. When Rashi Stam says one pshat and then another pshat is pshlamino, the first pshat is closer to Pshat Shemikra. Elamai is the psagroisa kasha, and that's why I have a second pshat. But still, the second pshat is further away from Pshat Shemikra. Second question that I've asked is Lachoida, it's a psamachloikis and metzias. Go out in the street. Okay, Yidden versteht sich not going to eat down. But the is go among Goyim. Go somewhere among Goyim. Because Yidden, that's also for them to do. Okay? Go among Goyim and find out, are people short of the dam and not short of the dam?
You said this morning they put blood in the salt. So yes, when you see the salt, you don't have the
Uh-huh.
blood, but it's one of the ingredients for salt.
What's the
So-
machloikis? What's the machloikis? Machloikis and metzias. Very hard. We don't like machloikis and metzias. And why is it Rashi changed the lashon? In the beginning he says shotuf, and then he says misave. And why is it that in the later Rashi says that nafshe shlodim kotzam imenu? Why does he change his lashon every time? And why is it a lot of times Rashi doesn't bring the name of the Balamaymer? He just says one pshat and another pshat. And sometimes he does. The Rebbe has a shita that when the Rashi brings the name of the Balamaymer, the Rebbe's shita is it's called a Talmud Mamulach. There's a Kluge Talmud that goes to the Mitzayonim class, and he has an extra few kashas for the Rebbe. So that's why Rashi was meramas by bringing the shemus of the Balamaymer. The kid is going to ask, why is this opinion hold like this and this opinion hold like that? So the Rebbe is going to say, don't you know the story about Reb Shimon ben Azai? Don't you know the shita of Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda is l'shitase and Reb Shimon is l'shitase. Okay, so why Tak over here is, and also the Rebbe asked, if Taka Rashi is bringing the Sifrei, and it's true Rashi is not responsible for the Sifrei. As the Rebbe Shita is that Rashi is not some a collection of Medrashim, Rashi is giving Pshatim Shut Shemikra. But still, if the Sifrei says, Rabbi Yehuda, I'm a magid she Yisrael shtufim bedam koidem matan Torah. Why is Rashi adds a lot of words and takes away a couple of words? Why is Rashi not say shtufim koidem matan Torah? If Rashi did say like the Sifrei, will give geschmack. It would say there's no pluk to here, Metzias. One was talking koidem matan Torah, and the other was talking lachem matan Torah. The shaila is, what was the pasuk talking about? One shit that was talking about before koidem matan Torah there was shtufim. They eat a lot of dam, so therefore they had to say chazak. And the other shit is, no, we're not talking about lifnei matan Torah. After matan Torah, versteht sich, the says not to do, they're not going to do. Elamai chazak is to teach you matan schorin shel mitzvahs. If you learned like the
sister, do we find the sister before we get to say part?
Yes, we find the Gemara in Ki Seitzei says we find it 5 times. Even in Parshas Achremois, for example. Here I have the next piece in Achremois Ishish and Yitzchak. When I get a good besek from Shichos kol dam and atzati pone benefesh achelas tzadam, echirati oisem ekerev amak ki nefesh abosa bedam avenin asati v'lachem al mizbech l'chapar nafsher seichem ki adam u'benefesh achape. The Torah says it so many times, so many times. And you're hitting on the Rebbe's beer. So the Rebbe's beer is like this.
These are the Shabbos, or Miklas, or the Shabbos of the Go Eladam.
Yeah, no, so here we're talking about the Torah says, the Gemara says in Krisis, Chamisha lavim ha'amurim bedam. The Rambam says, Sheva po'omim bo azora machilas dam. So the Rebbe says like this, the beer is poshut, that if you're going to tell me that only before Matan Torah there were Stufim Bachilas Dam, bothers Rashi. Rashi doesn't make things up. Could be there was another Girsa and a Sifrei, but still, why didn't Rashi pick the popular Girsa and the Sifrei? If we have a Sifrei and a Sifrei says a certain way, probably Rov Ki Seitzei had it that way. So even if Rashi found a different, an unpopular Girsa, so there's a reason why Rashi picked the unpopular Girsa. And the reason that says Pasha. When did the Eibishter tell them Parshas Dvarim? Moshe Rabbeinu is talking La'achar Shnas Arboin, and the Torah already told them Mishas Matan Torah not to eat dam. So if you eat short of lechel dam, only koydem Matan Torah, and Bishas they got the tzivui originally. It doesn't say a word chazak. 40 years later, someone woke up. The Rebbeinu says, I forgot about it. 40 years ago, I was going to say chazak. That's why Rashi doesn't like so much to say that when he say hoy shtufim was koydem matan Torah. If now 40 years later they're not shtufim, so why are we saying chazak?
Next door. That's not the door that came out.
Exactly. So therefore Rashi doesn't like that. It's a plukte b'metzias. You guys said it's a machlokes b'metzias. Are they shtufim? Are they not shtufim? There is not a machlokes b'metzias. That's why the Rashi changed the lashon from shtufim to misave. Sometimes a person doesn't have a taiva for something, but he does it anyway. The Rebbe Defa Bering was upset about the religious parties in the Knesset. The Rebbe said that everything they fakeh from Zidadoshim. It's given television of Shabbos. So there was back way then that there was a psasvora to make that it should be illegal to have television in Eretz Yisrael on Shabbos.
The station.
So the Rebbe said that even the Freie people, they don't want to watch television on Shabbos. They would rather have a little bit menucha. But the Yos has to be a Milchama and Kegen Yiddishkeit. So that's a pshat shtufe. Shtufe, the Rebbe Ketayt in Yiddish, what's mean shtufe? Nicht was to watch on the television.
Shabbos watching?
Huh?
You said the word watching?
I know, he said a different word. No, but nicht was to zen of the television of Shabbos. Elamai says Kivin she over Vishona last like a that they're doing it, yeah.
Not Torah. Only Dam HaNefesh is a Torah. Now, of all the weird types of food that the guy eats, I never heard of anybody, people who drink blood.
Which are Dam
About
HaNefesh.
blood pudding.
Yeah, because
So,
only Dam HaNefesh.
I hear. So the emes the Rebbe says like this: there could be a person that has zero taiva for dam. It's disgusting, but we'll read it in a minute. We'll read the Moreh Nevuchim and the Ramban. The Moreh Nevuchim says that there are people that used to drink dafke dam HaNefesh because they felt that gives them special power. That gave him special spiritual power.
Versus dam.
That the nefesh is yoitzaboy. Dam sha nefesh yoitzaboy. That they used to drink dafke that dam.
I heard
Because-
that in Germany, there's Jewish people says in the winter, they saw the German soldiers go to the horse, take not the needle, the suck from his head, blood, and drink it.
Uh-huh.
They saw it. do it.
Yeah, the
Why?
Aztec Indians, they used to do human sacrifice.
Why?
They would cut out the person's
Why?
heart while in
Why
the
don't we
blood
talk like horse?
and then drink the blood. Now I remember that.
Right, no, but what was the reason? They thought there was a
They would sacrifice a person on the altar.
right. So there's also I wrote the name of the shiur about the vampire. They also is a mishigas. Even it's a fiction. The vampire story is all the whole story with Count Dracula and the thing is a fiction, but it's based on the like you said. There was the mishigas that they would so. Could be a person hates the blood, that's disgusting, but he thinks that there's a special zevula nifla, and he gets a special koyach from drinking it. Or it could be the Gemara says that there's a Gemara. Gemara says in Barachas, kol nefesh meishe nefesh. Even the Gemara over there means slightly different. The Gemara Rashi says it means the person who eats little fish. So he eats the whole fish. So it's nefesh, he eats the whole nefesh, kilo. So that's meishe nefesh. But and it is the difference of shtufim and taiva is like the Rebbe said with the television. Could be he has no taiva to do it, but the mishagas he did it over vishana. He's doing it and he's doing it for years and years. He doesn't even know why he's doing it.
What else used to say in the shlachtes and the going there, they believe it makes them strong, and it says the talk is strong.
They all love dafke from this.
Right?
They're strong.
Right, it says they drink the blood and they feel
And they think.
Yeah.
In this level, they drink the
They think. But so the Rebbe says, therefore, that's why the Rebbe changed that Rashi changed his lashon. It was not machloikis metzius. Bam is a human being, a normal human being is not misav to drink blood. Adarabbe, nafshi shalod hotzim is that's repugnant to normal
One drop
person.
of blood by eggs, we don't want the whole eggs.
Versteh, but that's the Eibishter says. But even the emes, the nefesh of a healthy human being, says it's most elamai. The Yidden were shotuf bazeh. Why shotuf? Because they were in Mitzrayim, and the Mitzrayim had a mishagas that they used to drink the blood, either because they am getracht with Count Dracula, others am getracht with the Indians, others am getracht, whatever mishagas, they like these goyim and the shlachtos, whatever, they were thinking something, the Egyptians. And they had some mishagas that they used to drink dafke, the dama nefesh, and the Jews lived there. So Mamela, they became shortov to do it, even though it doesn't make sense. And Nafshishalodam Einem Esava, Fakeret is Kotzim Imenu. It's a different Hakadashi changed their lotion to show you that it's not a machloikas b'metzias. Ben Azai and Yehuda were not arguing with metzias. A normal human being is not misava to drink blood. Fakert, it's kotzam imenu. Elamai, the Jews were shot of bazeh because they grew up in Mitzrayim. Elamai, this is for the akasha of this pshat. Number one, it's 40 years later. The Eibusha toch geheißen nicht zu tun. These are the children of the people that are Mitzrayim.
Wow.
The Eibusha said not to do it, and it's the children, and they're still so short of.
And this pasuk doesn't say, many times
It's
in the
adoy.
Surim, it says, don't be like what you did in Egypt, where you'll say, I remember the cucumbers. It doesn't say, I remember the blood of Mitzrayim.
That's not a slam dunk kasha.
No, but
Every
I'm
time.
saying that
Every
in the
time.
40th year, it's not the
But that's a shaila. It's the 40th year. So a bomba kasha, it's not. Because Moshe Rabbeinu is repeating things and whatever, could be a lot of shat. Maybe there was a few avaryonim. It's a bomba kasha das nicht, but it's a kasha. It's a few starke kashas. Therefore, Rashi brings the second shot from Reb Shimon ben Azai, who says no, that's chazak over here is pasha fakeret. He didn't want to say in his word that a person is kotze because you don't want to make kotze la kotze. It's enough to say that a person is eina misava. And the Eibishter wanted to tell you that to teach you less from the other mitzvahs. Elamai, that in Pshuta Shemikra, the second pshat is for it has it femfet ala kashas, but it doesn't flow in the psukim, because if you read the psukim, the pasuk says ki yarchiv Hashem lekefes gevulcha v'amarta oich labasar ki sava nafshecha lech labasar b'chol avas nafshecha toich labasar. That you have a taiva to eat meat, and in the Mishkan you have to bring a shlom. You're not allowed to eat psar taiva, and now you're allowed to eat psar taiva. So the basar, if you have a taiva, eat, but the dam, even though you have a taiva, don't eat it. That's what it seems like from the hemshech psukim. Therefore, the Yehuda liked better that the hemshech psukim flow. So you'd say taka. He was talking about dam. Show you shtufim leichul dam.
There's contrast between meat, which becomes mutter, and
right,
blood,
but
which
it's
is also not in the
right. But the
context
pasuk is saying
but
you have a taiva, but this taiva you could have, and the other taiva you cannot have. And which taiva? The taiva of having meat you can have. The taiva of having blood you're not allowed to have. That's what Yehuda liked this one, and it flows better in Pshuta Shemikra. But for it, there is a question: if Shnasar Boim, these people are still short of to eat dam. So therefore, Rashi brings the second pshat, but the second pshat doesn't go well in Pshuta Shel Mikra. That over here in the first of all, why dafka they try to pick this, and it's not mashma so much. It's mashma that you have a taiva for meat and you have a taiva for blood. The meat you can eat and the blood you can't. As always, mashma more in pshat. So therefore, Rashi Taka brings first das Rabbi Yehuda, and then he brings das Reb Shimon ben Azai. So that's the pshat. Okay, so everything's fine for it. There's no look to mitzias. Everyone agrees that normal person doesn't like blood. Elamai could be for whatever mishigas that a person is shocked was he does it, and he does it again and again because he believes that whatever, because these strong guys in the shlachtos believe that they get strong, or the Indians or Dracula, whatever it is, and they were Mitzrayim and they got used to it. So the Yehuda says that's why it says chazak. And but for it's adoyt mishnas harboyim and the children. So the Rashi brings the second shot that it's to teach you for other mitzvahs, but that doesn't go well in the hemshech psukim. Why does Rashi bring the names of the Balei Maimer? Oh, this is a classic. The Rebbe says like this, because the Rebbe will tell the students. The stam of the Rebbe is a Talmid Chacham. He's teaching a cheder. So and he doesn't have to be such a big Talmid Chacham. The Rebbe said. He could open up the Seder Adoides, and the Seder Adoides, it goes through all the Amoiroim and then the different machloikas they had. So Seder Adoides is not a hard sefer to duchlein in the Seder Adoides. So the Rebbe probably has a sefer Seder Adoides and a duchlein in the sefer, and he'll find that if Yehuda says, it says Loi Toichel Kol Navela Lager Asher B'Sherechet Etnena V'Achol Loimachar L'Nochri, and if Yehuda argues on a meir. And Rabbi Yehuda says, no, Dvorim kiksava. Lager b'nesina, lenochri b'machira. We see that Rabbi Yehuda had this mahalach that Dvorim have to be kiksava. And then there's a whole sikha that Rebbe brings that Rabbi Yehuda many times, the shit is, even if it's memad b'koidem shal Yisrael, if through that the Pshuta Shamikra will read better, he likes to say a pshat that way. So here he likes to say a pshat, even though it's a little not so b'chvoidim shel Yisrael, but it's dvarim kiksava. The pshat flows very well. Lidach, who's Reb Shimon ben Azai? In Pirkei Avos, Reb Shimon ben Azai says, "Haverotz l'mikveh kala, shemitzvah geredes mitzvah, berechem and aveda, but the aveda geredes aveda." So he was very running. So why? Even a mitzvah kala is going to drag you to a mitzvah that's another mitzvah. Mashenk and aveda, even a small aveda will drag you to a bigger and a bigger aveda. So for Reb Shimon, it was for him fakir to say that even though this is a mitzvah kala, the Eibush says chazak, because when you can be chazak in a mitzvah kala, mitzvah get its mitzvah and it'll strengthen you and you'll do the other mitzvahs good. This is nice. Then the Rebbe says furthermore, I'll show you a proof that Ben Azai did not hold of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yehuda did not hold like Ben Azai. How am I going to show you this? There's a story in the Gemara Brachas. It's a funny story. Ben Azai said, "Pamachas nechnasti acher Rabbi Akiva lebeis hakisei. Lamad temenu shlosh dvorim." He walked behind him in the beis hakisei and he saw how he went to the beis hakisei and he said that he saw three things. Number one, that he sat down. Number two, he wiped himself with his yad keya with his left hand. And was the third thing, whatever, three things that he learned from him. So when he came in the base medrash, Rabbi Yehuda said, "Ad kan," he asked the panecha barabach, azach chutzpah to walk behind your Rebbe when he goes to Beis Hakisei to watch how he's going to Beis Hakisei. So Ben Azai said, "What do you mean? Toirei v'lumad ani tzorich." So we see over here that Rabbi Yehuda Ben Azai had a little bit of a different mahalach. The Rebbe says, Rabbi Yehuda's shita was, you can ask him a shayla on the base of Medrash. If you ask him, Rabbi, when you go to the base of Kisei, you're supposed to stand, you're supposed to sit, you're supposed to be mid, you're supposed to be small. Oh, the third one was he did it bein Mebdorim Lutzov, not between Mizrach Meider. Can ask him these questions. But for it, Chazal say, Ein lameidim alocha lamei pelimad v'lamei pemaisa ad shemala alocha lamaisa. So when you see alocha lamaisa, it's stronger. So Rabbi Yehuda said, "Come on, let him you're running after him in the Beis Hakisei. Come on, give him a break." But if Shimon ben Azai, no, he ran after him. He ran after him in the Beis Hakisei.
Even talking that they took him to his house to show how he lived with his wife.
Yeah,
No, but that was a separate story. 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 This is the Beis Hakisei story. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda and Ben Azai have a different mahalach. And another thing we also see, it says, Ben Azai Omer, Nema machashefa loy tachaya, v'nema kol sheicha v'mehem amois yumas. Samcha akosav inyan loy. Why did the Torah put the two things? Ma sheicha v'mehem b'skila, af machashefa b'skila. Omer le Rabbi Yehuda, v'chi mipnei shesamch inyan loy noitze zel skila. Because the Torah was medah, brought one pasuk next to another pasuk, we're going to schlep out the other guy for skila. But Ben Azai says no, that because the Torah, but we learn from one thing to the next. So Ben Azai in his mind, it made sense that the Torah should say chazak lebilti achol adam, even though adam is easy to teach you for other things. But Rabbi Yehuda, it's not like man. For him, is more dvarim kiksava. Before we go to the Pnimis and Yonim, I want to read quickly over here the Ramban to understand what the Rebbe is saying.
Iron is ugly extermination company.
Okay, very good. So the Ramban says like this. Look in the Parashat Rimois to Psukim and then the Ramban. Kinefesh Abbas B'Adam Avanin Sata V'Lachem Al Mizbeach. Mashpos HaKosel Zeh Shem She'osar Lanu Adam Emnei She'osar Lanu Elisa Mizbeach L'Chapar Nafsheseinu V'Chelet Hashem Ketam HaChelet Im Niksha Lo Ma'osar Dam HaChayev Ha'oif Shalo Yikrev. These chayev oifes which cannot be brought to the mizbeach, so why can't he drink their dam? Nitches hashol shiur tzalachakenu kol dam shalo nishge boy, because dam is only for the mizbeach. Lafa b'shalos kemechelu kinikeru. Varav kosa b'moyr navuchim kehoyu akazdi moyesem adam v'chashvu lam latuma aval yochlu mimemnu oritz l'schaber l'sheidi ulinove mehem asidus. V'atoyre techaven lo'olam laharetz b'nyona kislusam b'hipach machshveisein. לקח עשר התורה האדם באכילה, ובוחר רבוי ליטור בעזוס לזורק על המזבח לכפרה. לקח אומר, ונסעתי פוני בנפש החלס האדם, כמו שנאמר בנויסן מזare lemoilech. So he's saying that Moed Nevuchim is saying that these goyim used to think that if you drink blood, that you're going to have a special koyach. It could be meschaber l'shedim, it could be menaba sidois. They didn't know that in America, what are they called? The psychics. For $5, you could be the yodei asidois. You'd have to drink up a whole pint of blood in order to be yodei asidois. But it's interesting. This industry of Yodei Asidos, of the psychic, didn't start yesterday. It's a very, very old profession. So the Kasdim believed in order to be a psychic, you got to drink the dam nefesh. When you drink the dam nefesh, then you have the koyach to be a psychic. So maybe lemin avodah zara. Keloi nemar kain b'mitzvah zacheres ve'lo dvarim yushav. Alaksum lo yorekim shem yoretama betama yisud. Ki nefesh kol basar damar benafshi. Ki nefesh abasar benam. So the Moed Nevuchim says that the point is that the goyim used to drink blood in order to give them special clairvoyant powers. But he says, I don't see it in the words of the pasuk. I have a different pshat, says the Rambam. What's his pshat? אבל הכתובים לא יורוקים, שם יום נתומד בטעם איסה כנפש כבס אדומה בנפש כנפש כבס בדמו, תחזיר במשנתוי, רק חזק לבלתי אכול אותם, כדמו הנפש ולא תאכל הנפש כבס. והרואי שנפרש בטעם איסורי, כשם בורא כל הנבראים בתחתינים לא צריך אדם, ולבדי, בהם makir is boire. Everything was created for the man, for the human being, because the human being is makir is boire. Afa became lo hiter lam bachila. First, he said the humans can only eat sameach. Maloi bala nefesh kasher bo bepashes bereishes shenemer kin nesat lachem eskolaisim zerei zera sheroi amabel shenitzlo beschus sheshol noach v'hikri men korben v'hoyer lerotzaloi yitel lamashchita k'moi shenemer kol remes asher uchai lachem yelachlo ki erik esav nasati lachem es koil ki chayusam avur adam. Because now that the whole world is living b'avura adam, so it makes sense that he could eat their meat. V'hine hiter gufem asher uchai b'avura adam. Shiur la'naos. He mida connected mida that Noach saved their goof. He could eat their goof. Shiur la'naos l'tzarke shel adam. Shetia nefesh shebahem lakapor la'adam b'kreivim lafonim yizborech lo yishiyachlu. Kein roi l'bal nefesh yechel nefesh. Ken afoshes kulam la'el eina kenefesh adam kenefesh shebahem alayt. Umikar echel lam k'mayzeh v'ruach echel l'chol. That on the one hand, all nefoshes are, a soul is a soul. Many eitzet nitzet nefesh behema. V'hini nefesh gemura betzad ben aponim al chen yesh badas levarech min hanezek l'lech harach ha'nos lo v'heker b'regilin v'avosam lahem ka'avas ha'klovim lo baleim. Just like we see that a kelev likes his master, and the yoina and different animals, they know what pleasure is, they know what danger is, they know how to run away from danger. Beheker mufla ba'an shebai is baleim v'chem yoinav das v'korim min ha'idua oid kinechel yishuv be'gufa oifzit v'hoi l'basar echad v'girthel adam nefesh kol basar hu yischaber bedame v'helach adam aleiv tia oive v'gasis b'nefesh adam v'tofshuv orev l'teva ha'nefesh ha'bahamis asher b'nechel ki adam lo yitztarech ikul b'shor ha'nacholim shishtanim b'ikulim v'yitl boy nefesh adam bedam ha'behemem v'kosav omer mi yodei ruach b'nei adam ha'oid le'lamayla b'ruach behema yeredis ilamata lo'oretz. So he's saying Pasha, saying, look, when it comes to flesh, the flesh of an animal is different than the soul of an animal. Number one, the flesh is the flesh, is not the soul. Soul of an animal has a certain, it's a soul. It knows love, hate, danger, v'chulu hanoah. It's a soul. So when you eat flesh, you're ingesting flesh, you're not ingesting. But the soul of a behemoth, so you become like a nefesh of a hamas. the pasuk says, "Ruach odem ha'oile l'mayla, v'ruach habehema yered silamata." So if you're going to eat meat, so number one, the meat is not the nefesh habehema. It's only a chitzonis thing. It's only the flesh. So the human being eats it and he could digest it and becomes part of the human being. And it's not anymore a part of the behemoth. Number two, you have to digest it. Mashenkin dam, you drink it. So your body doesn't have to work so hard to
What
change
about
it.
the soul of an animal?
So therefore, there's two nafkaminas. Number one is that the flesh doesn't have the soul. The blood carries the soul. Number two, the pasuk says different than you. The pasuk says, "Ki nefesh kol basar, domoy benafshiyu." So
Certainly by people, we don't say that the neshama is the blood. I mean, the neshama is something of a ruchne.
but that's what the pasuk says. Ki nefesh kol basar, domoy benafshiyu.
Are we saying that by an animal?
I don't know what we're saying. I'm just saying that the pasuk says.
The physical blood.
That's what he says. Ki nefesh kol basar, domoy benafshiyu. The question you should have asked when we started this year, when we read the pasuk, not now. That's what the pasuk says.
We're reading about the animals. That's what prompted my question.
So
And also, what's the difference if you're digesting blood or you're digesting meat?
because he's saying the meat, it takes a lot for the body to digest. The blood is liquids; it goes straight in. The body doesn't work that hard to digest it.
So that should be less of a problem then.
No, it's more of a problem
Why?
because when you work hard to digest it, it became something new. It's not so much connected to the original what it was, to the original animal. You worked really hard. You made one thing to the other
Broke
thing.
it
Your
down
stomach,
completely
your
different.
stomach, breaks it down to enzymes. So, but the blood, the body doesn't have to work so hard to break it down. And the other difference is that the flesh doesn't carry so much of the soul of the animal. The blood is more connected to the soul of the animal. So it's two chesroinus.
You're answering his question also. What we,
Yeah, it's
why-
not. The blood is connected. It's not.
what are we putting dam on the mizbeh?
Oh, for the mizbeach, it's good. It's for the behemoth, it's good because we're giving fakir. That's what he's saying. Beilo la'arev nefashos nechroses benefesh yemes avotilo lekapora al mizbeach lerotzam lifnei Hashem fakir.
So the person can see the blood says it's supposed to be to me.
What exactly?
That says
So, right.
To the behemoth.
Exactly. וזה טעם, על כן אמרת בני ישראל בבוש האדם או נפש, ואינו ישתך נפש עם הנפש. ואני חמלתי על נפש האדם, ונסעתי ולא מזבח, שנפש הבהמה מחפשת על נפשי. So very good. Bottom line, he's saying there's two pshatim why the Goyim used to eat blood, and why the Yidden are not allowed to eat blood. One the Rambam, in Varna Buchen, one the Ramban. Huh? New discovery. Yeah, exactly. So now let's get to the Rebbe's word. That we have two pshatim and Rashi. Rashi brings first the simple pshat, which is Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is Maloshat Ham Oides Hashem Aidol Bittul, the simple avoid of Iskafia, to purify the midas. So Rabbi Yehuda says that a person has to be careful because a person has to work that hard that he shouldn't have bad midas. A person has to work on his midas, shouldn't have bad midas. If you're too busy eating the dam of a behemoth, you get bad midas. I mean, just like that, I'm writes in general about things that you eat, that the Eibishter gives special dietary laws, that the kashrus, the whole kashrus is in order that these are foods that are shaykh for a person to digest and to be mild, and it's shenke in this, yeah?
You get bad midas because you pick up the midas of the animal?
Yeah. And you pick up the midas now,
It's a sheep.
sheep also has bad midas.
It's the bad midas of the sheep.
Yeah, he lets
Animal just because it's an
yeah,
animal?
because he lets everyone do whatever they want. They schlep him like the sheep to slaughter. So that's a bad midah too.
But we're allowed to eat them.
So again, we said the two differences that Ramban said, but the word that the Rebbe is trying to say is that Yehuda is saying that simple thing in avodas Hashem, a person has to work on his midas, not to have midas like a behemoth. What's the difference of a human being and an animal? That an animal is reflected midas, and a human being, faket, is impulsive. Human being, that the person should be reflective, not impulsive. Most human beings don't even think about it. You know, whatever. They live a whole life. But the emphasis is the ruach ha'adam ma'ila l'mayla, ruach lehem yeredis l'mata. Person shouldn't be impulsive. My midas should not be impulsive. So Rabbi Yehuda says, Yehuda is in Meloshna Dobit, that he does to work in his midas. He shouldn't be impulsive. But if Shimon ben Azai was nafshe choshka, he couldn't even get married. He was like, that's it. Everything of life is just not to have bad midas. Oh, come on. That's not what life is all about. He was never married. He didn't know how hard it is to work in it, what it meant. But sorry for the cynicism. So back to
You didn't have to get married. Didn't have to.
If Shimon ben Azai said, "Lelamda chat kama tetzorech lischazek b'mitzvahs lahazircha." The word lahazircha is lahazircha lelamedcha. Lashon zoyar v'oyer. That the Torah said chazak can't be. The whole chazak is chazak is to tell you not to have bad midas. It's more. It's lahazircha or lalamedcha. Atama tatzorech lischazek. L'meziloshen zoyer v'oyer avuach b'ma v'zoyer tfei. That the Alter Rebbe brings that one of the Merom asked who your father, which mitzvah was he more careful with? So the Alter Rebbe says, avuach b'ma v'zoyer tfei. Which mitzvah made him shine? That there's a mitzvah that you do that's special for you that makes your neshama shine. Which mitzvah makes you shine? So therefore, he argues. He says the whole chazak is that not to have bad midas. It's more than that. Chazak is la'azircha. It's not just that you shouldn't have bad midas like a behemoth, that you're impulsive. Can't be that life is all about that. It has to be more than that. Shimon ben Azai says, oh, no, it's lahazircha, that you should come to Zoyer v'oyer, they should be l'schazek b'mitzvahs, that you should go up, you should be godly, not only that you don't have bad midas, but that you're godly midas. And that's the maila of the Zoyer v'oyer. So that's the Rabbi Yehuda pshat and the Pnimius. This is the Pnimius
in Purim.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to pick him up. Okay, so that's the Pnimius, that's the Yenishal Torah, that's the Yenishal Torah in Rashi.
There's some people that don't have Torah mitzvahs, but they may have very good mitzvahs. They're very good mensch, but they're not Haverga whatsoever. So I can understand Rav Shimon ben Azai saying that Torah is more just having good midos. We see that there are people that don't have Torah mitzvahs, but they may have midos.
That's not, if a person was born with some gift and didn't work, so then they didn't do anything. And the Eibusher gives every person a mission.
Yes,
Some Chinese, what is it, crocodile, to eat it.
Oh, the Dachmamish to the right, right?
In it to eat it, you have to cook it 14 hours.
so
And
longer than shallots. What's like
Chont, yeah, prawns, he's saying about
shallots
chont.
we cook overnight. But not
Oh,
crocodile
yeah.
shallots. Could have it
like nasty.
That's what their nefesh is.
Those are nice. You are what you eat.
yeah.
They are moist.
Yeah.
For the moist to look at it.
We have